There we go. Awesome. So I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Angie Gooden, and I'm a recruitment advisor with NBCC. So I'm here tonight to kind of host and answer any questions that you might have. I'm joined tonight by an academic chair for the building and construction trades, Ashley Ritchie, and also by one of our instructors, Dwayne. So it's great to have you both here. I want to cover just a few housekeeping items before I pass the session over to Ashley and Dwayne. So once again, we're really excited that you're here with us tonight. We've got some great information. This is your opportunity as students that are already accepted to a program at NBCC. This is your opportunity to learn all kinds of information about what you need to start your year off successful. So it's a very informal session. As we're going through, if you're not familiar with Teams, if you want to look at the top of your screen, you'll see a little dialogue bubble. If you click on that bubble, the chat will open up on the side. That's where you can put any questions that you might have throughout the session. Towards the end, after Ashley and Dwayne are done speaking, if you'd like to turn your cameras on or unmute your mic, you can certainly ask the question yourself. Sometimes folks aren't comfortable doing that, so you can always put your question into the chat box as well, and we'll certainly do our best to answer all of your questions. So I can't stress enough, this is your opportunity tonight to get any questions answered by the experts themselves. For those of you who may have just joined us, we are recording tonight's session. So that's fantastic news for you, because maybe there's something that gets said that you can't remember exactly what was said and you want to go back and listen to it again. It's going to be posted on our website probably by the first of next week. So we'll say June 7th. The recording should be there. So you can go right back to the college preview page of our website and you'll find the webinar there, so you can watch it again. Other things that I want to mention to you, again, the questions, I can't stress enough, this is your evening. We're recording this, and I think that's just about all I've got to say for notes. I will mention, Ashley and Dwayne, if there at any point, if there's something you're talking about and you want me to post a link to it, just let me know if it's something off our website, and I can post that link in the chat for you, and then the participants have that. So I'm going to turn the session over to you.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. We're really excited to know that you'll be joining our sector of building and construction and that you've chosen programs in our sector. So I'll just introduce myself to you. So currently I oversee building and construction. So in our department, we have carpentry, sheet metal, refrigeration and air conditioning technician, and carpentry. And we're really excited to have you here today. So myself, I am a red seal carpenter and a red seal bricklayer, and I'm joined today by one of my instructors who is in the sheet metal trade and currently instructs at our Moncton campus. So I just would like to open the floor to you guys and just kind of get a feel for what programs you're in. So I don't know if anyone's comfortable speaking and just letting me know what program they're registered in.
Hello, my name is Titi. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Okay, Titi from Nigeria, and my program is Carpentry.
Okay, which campus did you choose?
Woodstock.
Okay, that's where I did my training too, actually.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
What program did you choose?
Hello.
Hi.
So I chose the carpentry program in St. Andrews campus.
Oh, okay, that's exciting. I'm actually located out of that campus, so that's where I go to work for most of my days. You're gonna love the campus down there. It's very homey, just a small knit community. I'm really looking forward to having you down there.
Cool, nice. I'm looking forward to meet you as well.
Is there anybody in here that's chosen any other programs?
I chose Skill Trades Technique.
Okay, what campus did you choose?
Woodstock.
Woodstock, okay. Skilled Trade Techniques is actually one of our new programs with the idea behind it that you get to explore a trade before you then settle in on what trade you'd like to do. So there was two options. You could go to Woodstock or St. Andrews, and depending on what campus you chose, there's different options there. Just because we have different trades programs at each campus. It's really an exciting opportunity. It's just launching and it'll be on its first time out this year. So I guess we want to talk to you a little bit about skilled trades and then answer any questions about the programs you have. So there's certainly exciting career opportunities in the skilled trades and work right here at home in New Brunswick for people. And we're really excited about that. I myself personally, throughout my experience, I guess I feel like I always worked. I had the opportunity to travel all across Canada with my trade. There was competition activities you could compete in as well to showcase your skilled trade, and just lots of different things. So me personally, obviously, I like building things with my two trades, but oftentimes there's trades that are just, I want to say, overlooked or not thought of the same. So bricklaying, that's one a lot of people don't think of, but sheet metal is another one a lot of people don't think of, or you may not see once a building's kind of constructed and the components of sheet metal may be hidden behind the wall, or they may be up in the ceiling and you just may not understand how the components come together and work. But sheet metal is something that's very in demand. And I'm hoping it'll be seen as like electrician, plumber. They're all essential parts of making a building work together, and sheet metal is essential in the industry of airflow. And maybe I'll let Dwayne speak a little bit more to that program and maybe just your journey in the skilled trades.
Okay, hi all. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, first trades, it doesn't really matter trade you pick. As a young person, you're going to have to, if you are picking a construction trade, you must be willing to work physically. All of our trades are pretty much go hand in hand. It's like Ashley was saying, the carpenter will build the building. The electricians, plumbers, and ventilation guys, which is the sheet metal workers, come along and fill it up with their trades. And every building has all of what I just mentioned. In commercial buildings, you're going to add sprinkler systems to it. And so there are many trades. What you need to be looking for is, if you're going to work in a construction trade and you're going to work hard, and you will, but it is rewarding. All trades, there's no end to what, if you're willing to travel, there's some good money in all the trades. I'm not here to promote mine more than another, but you should look into the financial salaries at the end of the day for here in New Brunswick or wherever you figure you're going to be going to work. And I'll let you make that decision. Another thing you need to look at is the trade a licensed trade? All our construction trades are certified. No, they're not all certified. They are journeyman status trades. Some are certified. We happen to be one of them. It's just another plus for our trade. But again, I would just say a construction trade is really gratifying for those who want to build. If you want to build stuff, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, a carpenter, an electrician, a sheet metal worker, you will be fabricating and installing. We are one of the few trades that do fabricate and install their material from sheets. Yeah, but every construction trade is similar in that way. And I forgot to mention bricklaying. Bricklaying also, I mean, it's a really rewarding career. If you're physically capable and you're willing to put in the hours, it's a rewarding trade. And,
I would agree with that.
we are here to answer any question that you have, and I'll do my best to try to answer on the other trades that you might be interested in or how to get in. I'll tell you what I know. I've been in the trade for, well, embarrassed to say, but almost 38 years now. So anyway, I'll let Ashley or hopefully some of you guys speak up and ask questions.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that a little bit, Dwayne. Thanks for sharing that. It really is, you're very much an integrated part of the community in a skilled trade. So you think about it, and we build a lot of important facilities that go up. So whether you're building schools, hospitals, community rec centers, we're definitely make landmarks in communities, and it's a really satisfying feeling to see that go up and know that you gave back to your community in a way where they can either gather or go to get a service. And it's really nice just to be a part of that. Another thing I want to talk about is just the different sectors. So we've talked about you can work in many different areas. So for construction, there's a residential sector. So that's like the houses you and I live in every day. There's a commercial sector. So those are typically buildings where you go to receive a service. So like a shopping mall where you go to buy things, a school where you go to learn, a hospital where you go to seek some sort of medical advice. And then there's industrial. So that's typically a job site where something's being produced. So like an oil refinery or a hydroelectric dam. So there's 3 different sectors, and they all come with different pros and cons, I'll say. So typically residential is a lower end paying, and then the commercial you get paid a little higher, and industrial would be the highest paying. Now that being said, there's exceptions in all of those. Residential is and commercial itself is both very entrepreneurial environments. You can definitely start your own business one day once you become certified in your trade, and there's definitely lots of opportunity for growth across all of those sectors. So typically, yes, it might be low scale from one sector to another, but there are opportunities within each sector to break beyond the typical standard. Do you guys have any questions about any of your specific trades that you've chosen? Any questions about what it'll be like at the college when you come? Ask us anything. And feel free to use the chat if you're shy.
One question that I get a lot while our attendees are thinking about questions they might have, one question that I get a lot from students is, can you tell us about the blended learning? Give us an idea of what that's going to look like this fall for your trades programs.
Yeah, so blended delivery is just that. It's a blended combination of online learning and then actually coming physically to the campus to do your practical shop component. So oftentimes we may hear or have the misconception that blended is lesser than being face-to-face all the time, and we just want to say that misconception, that's just not true. There's definitely aspects of the trade theoretically wise, and the example I like to teach people is a carpentry related one. So a hammer, for example, when you first come and you're learning about the tools and why a tool is made the way it is, you can learn about that online. An instructor can share that information with you. As far as coming to the campus to use it, that's where you'll be in the shop. So you learn how to use it and actually pound a nail and put wood units together. So we've definitely separated in a way that is beneficial to you. So on those days that are blended, when you're learning the theory aspect of your course, so like how much a hammer weighs and why there's a certain length of hammer. And the reason I like the hammer example is because when you go into a hardware store and you go down the aisle where they sell hammers, there's at least 15 different varieties, right? And there's different varieties for a different reason, and they all have different advantages. And it's the same for measuring tapes, wrenches. When you go to pick up a tool, there's never just one option that you can buy. So the theory behind why a tool is made a certain way, no matter what trade you're in, you can learn that in an online environment. But then we'll actually haul you to the campus for your practical days, so you actually physically use that tool and learn how to construct and fabricate what you'll be installing on the job site. So I hope that answers that question. The outlook for the upcoming year, depending on your program, is you'll be on campus anywhere from 40 to 80%, depending on your program. So that would be a minimum of 2 up to 4 days of on campus. And I see someone has their hand raised. Yep, so feel free to ask a question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I have a couple of questions. Was wondering first if is it kind of mandatory to have a vaccine before coming to classes, like for example Johnson or whatever, like for COVID. I
I
mean,
didn't
a
hear.
vaccine for. I'm sorry. I mean, is it mandatory to have my vaccine for COVID before coming to like physical classes?
No,
Okay.
it's not. We don't have it mandated that a person needs a vaccine at this time. However, depending on where a person's traveling from, they'll just have to abide by whatever restrictions are in place at that time before coming to the campus.
If I might just
Okay.
interject here, if you're an international student, I assume that's why you're asking the question. Make sure that you're following all of the webinars that our international team is hosting. They have amazing resources for our international students so that they know exactly what they need to do to prepare to come to Canada. So there's a lot of information on our website on the international section. They host weekly webinars. And as we all know, the COVID situation is fluid. Changes happen all the time. So keep checking our website for updates. And I posted a link in the chat to check our website on a regular basis, the what can I expect. So Ashley referenced how often you would be in school. As those decisions are made, how often you're going to be on campus, it's going to be posted on that website under the academic program update. So make sure, I can't stress enough, check that. I would suggest on a weekly basis to see any new information. And if you are an international student, you want to make sure that you're communicating with our international team. They send out a lot of information as far as your the plans to arrive in Canada. Who knows by September what exactly it's going to look like, but they certainly are very on top of that. So would definitely recommend that to you.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hi.
I would like to ask if it's better for me to reside in the town my campus is on. Because, based on research, I see that Woodstock is about an hour from Fredericton, and I've got family there. And, they're trying to convince me to stay with them, but I'm thinking it's better I stay in Woodstock. So I would like to know what you would recommend.
Will you have a
I
vehicle?
would.
Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah, that's a good first question. Do you have a vehicle?
No, I do not. I do not have one.
Then you would have to live in Woodstock because there's no public transportation. It's an hour on the highway. It's an hour drive. You would have to have your own vehicle because you wouldn't have any other way to get here. So you would need to reside in Woodstock or have a way to get here.
Okay, thank you. I do have two other questions, if
Yeah.
it's okay. All right. You did mention the fact that the program, the trades program are certified. But I was wondering, would we need additional certifications like after the program? Would you recommend that?
Yeah, so I'll just elaborate on how the trades programs work a little bit. So once you take our program, it then transforms in, you go into apprenticeship. So I guess the way I'll explain it, so a carpentry license, for example, takes approximately 4 years to complete. So when I did mine at Woodstock as well. I took a year of pre-employment, which is the program that you're registered for. But then after that, you go out to work in industry. So when you complete your first year at school, you're considered a level 1 apprentice, and then you go out and you start gaining hours towards your level 2. Then you do the same for level 3 and level 4, and then you come back and write your final license. So once you leave our community college and you go out into the apprenticeship system, what happens is you do 80% of your training on the job with an employer, and then you'll get a piece of paper from the apprenticeship department from the province, and you'll come back to school for approximately 20% of your training each year. So it's very intense study periods that you come back, and so then you go up to the next level in your trade. Now, depending on what trade you selected, there are different years of completion. So I mentioned that I had a bricklaying trade, and that one was a 3-year completion rate, whereas carpentry was 4. Now it's based off hours. So that's how when you look it up online, you can tell. So carpentry is a 4-year. Refrigeration is a 4-year. Sheet metal has 4 years. and bricklaying has 3 years. So it really depends on what program you're in, how long it'll take you to complete it. But after a person completes a pre-employment program, they will be required to complete additional schooling. It's just at the average of 20% per year, and it's all together in one time frame. Then at the end of that, you write what's called your certification exam. So your interprovincial exam, it's called, and that'll give you, some trades are red seals, a special certification, but it's no extra cost for that. When you write the final test, if your trade has like an extra certification, then it's there on your certificate.
Okay, okay, that really
Ashley?
does help. That helps.
Yeah, and I think Dwayne just wants to
Ashley?
add to that. Yeah.
Yes, Titi, or anybody that is in the group, if you want any information on the Red Seal, just punch in Red Seal Government of Canada and you will see all our trades throughout Canada, the ones that are journeyman licensed trades, the ones that are certified, compulsory certified, they'll all be indicated. Just to give you an idea, you'll see all the trades that exist if you go to the Red Seal website.
Okay, thank you so much, Dwayne and Ashley. Thank you. My last question is, I am looking forward to the physical aspect of the training. It's one of the reasons why I chose the program, because I think I want to be physically involved in my next stage of career. But I was wondering, are there like software that we might need for the program? Like I'm doing carpentry, I'm just wondering, are there some software that we'll be introduced to?
Yep, I'll answer that. And I'm just going to paste the link there right now, and I can share my screen with you.
Okay.
So when I was on the NBCC website, this is the program technology requirement page, and I believe just see how I got there. I went up to student services, and then I went right here. It says recommended computer specifications. So I just clicked on that.
Yeah.
Now for our trades programs, they just fall here under minimum specified required. So you will be required to have a standard computer. It simply has, it has Windows 10 on it. We recommend, so you should have Microsoft Office on there. But everybody will need a computer for the blended portion that is virtual. But as far as special software, you don't need any more than just a basic computer with Microsoft options on it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I just add to that, folks, that if you are purchasing a new computer and it does not have Microsoft Office loaded onto it, do not pay for it because a free download of the Microsoft Office of Suites is included with your tech fee that you pay. So if you already have it, that's fantastic. But if you're going to buy a new computer, they will try to sell you the package, but you do not need to buy the Microsoft Office package because you get that free with your tech fee. And that all that information is right on that page that actually just showed as well.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
And I'm just going to post that Red Seal website link in the chat as well that Dwayne was talking about, and just in case after this chat you'd like to look at that anymore and explore trades in general. Yeah, I see someone has their hand up. You want to ask a question?
Yes. Hi, I'm Rafael Maham from Brazil, and I'm very
Nice
excited to. Yeah, good evening. And I'm very excited to join in the campus. And I have some questions, and I want to know how do it works, and the life in the campus, and how it works in this moment of pandemic, and the percent of the program blended in physical and online.
Yep. So you'll be a minimum of at least two days a week on campus, and that can go up to 4 days per week, depending on what program you pick. So we're finalizing our schedules right now. So no matter what, you'll be on campus a minimum of 2 days every single week. Some days will be more. So for example, in the fall semester, for example, there's more safety and upfront things about learning about tools and different aspects, whereas the winter term is more like shop heavy, and you're into bigger projects at that time. But as far as what a campus life looks like, so campuses I'm going to expect will be a little more lively next year as conditions, the restraints and restrictions are lifted. But you'll still meet other students there. You'll still see people from other programs. Do you have specific questions about, like, what program did you pick?
Yes, Carpentry.
And what campus?
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews. Oh, yes, sorry, you said that. So down in St. Andrews, trying to think about what the closest place for you would be. So you would be in between probably about 25 minutes from the next biggest town over. Right now, we currently have a lot of people, so there's no public transportation there, but the campus is right at the end of the town, very close to a lot of housing. Typically, people just bike to and from the campus. Carpentry program down there, I'm trying to think. Your shop building itself, so there's the main campus building, but then you walk outside and there's a carpentry shop located on the backside. So in the St. Andrews campus, it's compiled of 3 buildings. So you would be one of the smaller buildings in the backside. Do you have any specific questions about St. Andrews in general? Have you researched it online?
In general, no. I just want to say to choose what the place I will live, because I'm going to my wife and to just to settle.
That's exciting.
Yes, we are very excited.
You're really going to like it there. It's a very nice, beautiful coastal town. Students really enjoy just going down to the waterfront at lunchtime. It's a very touristy place. So there's lots of activity that goes on. There's definitely places to go see and good walking trails around there. It's a very nature beautiful spot.
Okay, and there is some neighborhood that you recommend to, or a small town to live. I have seen St. George is near and is a cheapest place.
Yes.
To live.
So you'll be in between 2 towns. So to one side of you, you'll have St. Stephen, which is more busier and livelier. Like they have a civic center, a large arena. They just have a lot of more community events. But then St. George is on the other side, and you are right, it is cheaper to live in that vicinity. But you'll have to drive. Regardless, if you pick one of those 2 towns, there will be a driving component. So it takes me about 40 minutes. I'm not very far from St. George, and it takes me about, I'd say 38 minutes to get to the campus. So you're expecting in St. George, you're going to have like a 35-minute drive to the campus. It's not a bad drive. It'd be about half on the highway and then just as like a secondary highway in off the main highway to get to the campus. But you are correct that St. George would probably be the cheaper area to find rent, and overall St. Stephen or St. George would be a little cheaper than typically what you would find in St. Andrews. But I don't want to discourage you from not looking right in St. Andrews, because sometimes like things just pop up and timing works out and you can find a great rental property right in town.
Okay. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, we're really glad to have you, so thanks for joining. Did you notice who had their hand up next, Angie? Because I didn't. I see a couple people. I just don't know who went. Does anybody want to just volunteer to speak and ask a question?
Hello.
Hi.
I am Abian from Ghana. And my question is, there's about 1,800 people in St. Andrews. That's the campus I chose or that was available for me, and I'm offering carpentry. Yeah, and I already make furniture in Ghana, and I want to know how close our carpentry program is to furniture. That's one. And if you can run concurrent trade training, because I am a handy guy, I really like fabrication, and I was listening to Dwayne. I've had a little interest in the metal sheet fabrication, sorry, and I think I would wish to learn that trade too. So I want to know if they can run concurrent training for both carpentry and the metal sheets. And I think the last question will be on the work permit for the apprenticeship, because I don't know if your apprenticeship ends, the 1 year ends, if you would be granted a work permit to get to level 2, 3, and 4 till you are a certified person in your trade. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the question I can't answer is the work permit one, and maybe I would have to reach out to somebody at International too. I've just never had that question before, and I don't want to give you false information. But we can certainly check into that and at least provide a link of who to go to find out more information. I see Angie, you have your hand. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, Ashley. I would recommend you email international@nbcc.ca. And as I mentioned earlier, check their page of our website. That they host webinars weekly, sometimes 2 and 3 a week. And I know that there's a lot of information they give students about post-grad work permits and how that would work. So checking the website to see if there's a webinar coming up about post-grad, and if there's not, send an email to international@nbcc.ca and they can certainly answer your question.
That's great.
Perfect. Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome.
But as far as carpentry being related to the furniture aspects, so I don't want to say that no, it isn't. I just want to recognize that there is a trade that you can branch out to, cabinet making. That would be more furniture oriented, but we don't have a program that is specific to furniture building. And as far as concurrent trades, you can't physically be in the 2 programs at the same time, like taking them at the same time, but there's nothing stopping you from taking one and then taking another. However, once you get to the apprenticeship aspect of that, you can only be registered in one trade at a time. So when I did my trades, I took the carpentry program, went out in industry and worked, finished that, got certified. Then I went back and took bricklaying. And then once I got certified in that, there's nothing that restricts me from being able to work in either one that I want any day once I become certified. It's just that through the training process of being an apprentice, you can only be registered into one trade as far as training, gaining hours towards the trade and experience.
Oh, okay. That answers my.
Okay. Is it Eric? I see one more person has their hand up.
I can go next if that's fine.
Yeah.
My only question was, other than computer, do we have to buy anything else, like for tools and stuff like that? Or is that some at school that we use, and then once you go out to work, then you start buying them?
No, so on your first day of school, like you are expected to have basic tools, depending on your program. However, like on your first day, don't feel obligated. Like you can certainly come in and you have time to talk to your instructors. It's very overwhelming even with the tool list. Because like I had mentioned before, you can go into a hardware store and there could be 20 different types of tapes, and it might feel a little overwhelming. So you're more than welcome when you first come to meet your instructors first, ask them for brands that they believe work the best in their trade and what would be the best type. So example, a hammer. There's lots of different sized ones. You can have the opportunity to view different ones at the school first, but you will be required to purchase tools depending on your program. What program did you pick?
I went with skill trades techniques, so like I guess it depends with which one I go out and pick after.
Yes, and for skilled trade techniques, the tool list, we're finalizing it right now, but it is very basic. It's like a hammer, a speed square, a multi-use screwdriver that you can use across multiple trades. So like Angie said, just keep watching the website for that because it will be posted shortly. But the tool list for skilled trade techniques is going to be very basic because we don't expect students to buy their specialized tools while they're exploring. We want you to explore, then pick your trade, and then invest the money into that trade.
There
Sounds
probably
good.
are some basic things that they need as far as safety boots, a hard hat. Like, would those things be standard, I would assume, across all of our trades?
Yes, sorry. So the basic safety equipment is mandatory for everybody. So everybody is required. You'll need to have some safety glasses. You'll have to have typically steel-toed boots. I wear my overalls all the time, but you're not required. They're optional. So if you want to have construction clothing, you're more than welcome to purchase that, but that's not mandatory. Gloves is another optional one. For some projects, people very much prefer to buy gloves. And then depending on what you're doing, if there is an overhead hazard, you would need to be required to wear a hard hat, but your instructor would let you know more specific on that about projects.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, and one that I forgot would be hearing protection. The school does supply that, but as a safety part of safety wear, I guess there are earplugs available at the campus, but some people do prefer to buy ear muffs, and you're more than welcome to if that's what you would prefer. Do we have any more questions? I see some people's hands are still up, but I think they asked some questions and then just didn't put your hand back down yet.
I do see there's some questions in the chat, Ashley. There's one here that says, I don't know if you can see that or not, if you want to answer the one about the carpentry.
Oh, yeah, I do. So the question is, how easy is the process of finding work is once the studies are completed? So typically, as part of your program, with the exception of skilled trade techniques, because you'll be picking your trade at the end of that year, all our other programs have a work practicum placement at the end. So you'll have an opportunity to be placed with an employer and go out and get some on-the-job work experience. Typically, they last 3 weeks. Some programs do alter that from that time frame, but an average of 3 weeks. And you get experience, and then which hopefully from that job placement, you'll secure a job with that employer. But then even so, if you don't, you still have that experience on your resume to go sell yourself to other employers. So typically finding a job, in my experience, hasn't been that difficult. Both of my programs when I graduated from, I got a job from my practicum placement that was part of my graduation requirement for the course. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add to that, Dwayne, as far as looking for jobs up at the campus you're near.
Well, I guess it's always, it's something that the young student needs to think about, because, you know, I've heard it's, and I don't want to speak, you know, you can pick, we got colleges throughout the province, and there's some parts of the province that have more work than others. And often we graduate students that think that because they took the program in a certain community that you're going to be working in that community. That might be the case for some, but for some others, it'll be harder just because of connections and whatnot. So, but if you're willing to relocate after taking your course, I can almost guarantee you'll be working somewhere. But if you want to work downtown where you took the course, it doesn't always work that way, sadly. But you've got to do your homework before starting something. I just hate seeing students disappointed with because they can't find work within a 10-kilometer radius of where they studied. So, but I can guarantee the students that they will find work somewhere because they're taking a trade at the NBCC. If they want it, if that's what they want, they're going to find it. But it doesn't come to you. You're going to have to, and it's like I said, our province is pretty big. We have colleges all over the place. For example, I teach in Moncton. We're in the southeast corner of New Brunswick. I have employers looking. We are the only course in sheet metal that is offered, and it's only offered in Moncton. I have employers looking for people in the other three corners of our province, and unfortunately, we don't have any students to send there. But again, that is you guys to do. Ask the questions and reach out to us, and hopefully you get the whole story. Okay.
Yep. So like Dwayne said, so I just want to give you an example. So for some of my trades, when I graduated from bricklaying, it was in Woodstock. I did find work locally, but there was about a year and a half of time there where I was part of a bricklaying union and I had to travel for work. So if there was a school being built in Fredericton, I had to travel there for work if that's where it was being offered. There was a period of time I had to travel to Moncton. So sometimes you may prefer to locate where there's work is more in demand, but then other times you can travel from where you live. So it's not always like you have to uproot your home, but you may be required to travel from Monday to Friday to complete your work and then come back home. So it really just depends on what sector and what you like to pursue. I see someone asked specifically about residential construction. There's definitely residential construction going on in big cities all around New Brunswick. There's definitely work in that field. Do you have any more questions that came in, Angie?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my name is Dagoberto. I choose the carpentry program. Now I have two questions. The first one is um, regarding tools. Like, what about the carpentry program? Like, do we need like a lot of specialized tools and like that? And how is it uh, how is it like spread around the year? I mean, do I have to pay? Do I have to purchase the whole tools list like the first month or something like that, or it's like kind of spread? Like I have to purchase like the basics tools on the first 3 months, and then I have to like purchase electronics after. How is it?
So the electronic portion, I'm just confirming. I don't know if you mean the computer by that. So you'll be expected to have
No, no,
that
no.
to start
Just
your course.
kind of
Okay.
other
And then the
other
basic
like
tools,
electronic tools.
I would say by the end of the first month, you should have all of your hand tools. However, I don't want to say that if for some instructors, they want them to have them a little bit sooner, but your basic tool list, I would say by the end of September, you should have those and have them ready to use every day. Like I mentioned before, it's a lot of safety up front and talking about that and recognizing the hand tools and stuff. But as soon as that period of time stops and you get into the actual content portion of your course specific to your trade, you're expected to have your tools and be able to construct projects. I don't know what your tools are like in sheet metal, Dwayne. I'm just going to try to look on the website real quick to get a tool list link. If Angie or Dwayne could just talk for 1 second.
We don't have a tool list link on our website, Ashley. And someone did ask about when that would be sent out.
I have a copy of the list. I believe I have a tool list for carpentry, so I'm just going to take a second to find it.
I would almost guess that the tool list for carpentry would resemble our tool list, and it will be approximately $300 hand tools. There will be no sophisticated electronic tools that a student has to buy. I'm not 100% sure on carpentry, but for our program, once you've purchased, like Ashley said, our hammer, screwdriver, pair of pliers and some tin snips, and a pouch, a carrying case, or a toolbox. Your basic hand tools is all we expect in our sheet metal trade. And I'm almost sure that it's the same thing with carpentry and bricklaying. They'd have a level, but anyway, that's what I think.
Oh,
I think
okay.
things like that
Really, really
are
thank you.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think what Dwayne was just talking about, all of those are reasons why in the past instructors have been hesitant to send a tool list out because they want to be able to talk to you about what tools work best. If it was someone like myself, I wouldn't have a clue. I'd go and pick up a hammer and I'd go to the dollar store and get one. I wouldn't know the difference. So you want to make sure that you have good quality tools, and you want to make sure that they're specific to, you know, there could be specific ones for your trade that are better than the other. So there's always anxiousness about the tools and whatnot. So what I usually recommend to students is have the money, like we tell you approximately, if you go to your program page on our website, go to your program page and under tuition and fees, whether you're domestic or international, click on that button and it's going to give you an approximate number of approximate value of what your tools are going to cost. So when you're doing your budgeting, if it says $600, and I'm just picking that out of the air. If it says $600, say, okay, I need $600 to get my tools. You might be able to find them on sale a little bit cheaper. I do know that there's a store, if you're going to the St. Andrews campus, the instructors will tell you about a certain hardware store that gives a discount. So there's really good opportunities there. Sometimes we have suppliers here in Woodstock that come in and give our students a bit of a discount as well. So in the past, what I've seen is instructors are a little bit hesitant to give out the tool list because they don't want you to go buy all of that stuff and then maybe you could have got a better deal or something like that. So to alleviate any nervousness about the tools, look on the program page, whatever it says that you're going to need, have that money set aside, and then you know you can get them as you're here. Like Ashley said, you're not going to be in the shop the first, I don't even know if it's a couple of weeks, but definitely not the first few days. You're not going to be in the shop using those because you've got to do your safety and things like that. So I do know the book list. I saw there was a question somewhere about the book list. Those usually come out midsummer, so around registration time. And the reason for that is, and I'm sure Dwayne can tell you, the instructors are going through their curriculum and if they're making any changes to what they want to use for books. And then our bookstore has to go and source those to see if there's a new edition, can they get those books, etc. So that all takes some time to do that. So usually it's around the middle of August when the new book list is available.
Okay, so much.
That was well said, Angie. About the very well said on the type of tools we get them to buy. You know, I can say a pair of pliers, but in the trade we prefer one set. So wait till you get to the school before purchasing because you might own a pair of something already that's good enough.
Okay, thank you. And my other question was like, I'm a study in Woodstock, so it's like during the winter, is it possible to going to the college by bike or like it's better to like do you guys recommend purchasing a vehicle like a car or something like that? I
In
mean,
Woodstock,
during
a
the
lot of
winter.
students do walk in the winter. Like if you're close
Oh,
enough to the campus, you can still walk in the winter. It's probably not a good idea for a bicycle just because we do have some icy sidewalks sometimes. Not going to say you don't see a student once in a while still come in on a bike because you certainly can if you want to. It's just I don't know how to explain it. We can't predict the winter, right? So typically a student will still walk. If they use their bike most of the time in the winter, they'll just switch over to walking to come to the campus.
We did have a student here the last 2 years from Vietnam. Bless his heart, he bought what they call, it's called a fat bike. The tires are really big and that's what they're called, is fat bikes. And he went all over town on that thing. So he did, I'd see him going to the grocery store. I'd see him going everywhere on that. So I've lived here all my life and I wouldn't be biking in the winter, but it didn't stop him.
And it's certainly a lot cheaper than a vehicle. And I just want to
Okay.
add to, so I posted a list over in the chat, a carpentry tool list. So just if you, and I'm just posting it there, so if you want to research, if you don't know what any of the things on the list are, feel free to look them up. But I just want to emphasize what Angie said. Don't feel the need to go out and purchase a ton of tools ahead of time. Come in, meet your instructors, talk to your instructors, talk to them about brands. So a lot of our campuses have deals with certain suppliers, and you may get a deal through them, or they maybe multiple people need the same tool, so they can put out a request to a supplier to get a tool at a cheaper rate. So don't panic about coming to school the first day with tools in any way. I would actually prefer you come and speak to your instructors first, get some name brands, do some investigating, and then purchase your tools so that you make the best investment with your money.
Okay, okay, thank you. And the last question, I'm sorry, Angie. The last question was, is it like any kind of course of French that I can take? I mean, uh, I'm starting my French classes, but I'm not so like good at French still, not yet. But I was wondering like if there's any kind of course that I can take in the at the NBCC. Like in the meantime, I'm studying I'm taking my carpentry course, and the other, and also like I was wondering if is it French so used in Woodstock, or it's not? It's more used English than French at Woodstock, in Woodstock.
In Woodstock, it's mostly English, but there is a French community of Grand Falls, not like I would say what, Angie, an hour up,
It's an
hour and
hour
20.
Yeah, it's an
Um,
hour. It's an hour upriver. Yeah.
that is a
The
French community.
Yeah, NBCC is an English-speaking college, so there is no French in the college. We do offer some part-time courses, and I'm just going to get that link to send to you. If you're interested in learning the French language, we do typically offer a French course that you can do. Sometimes they're online, sometimes they're in person, but I'm going to put that link in the chat for you. But you don't need French to live here. There's no business that you would go in and wouldn't be able to serve you here in Woodstock. It's not, if you were, the Moncton is a little more of a French community if you were at that campus, but here in Woodstock, this is an English area. I'm not seeing the link for it, but I'll keep searching for that link. There is a question actually while I'm looking for the link. I'm above where you posted the tools. If you could take a look at that, please. It's about switching trades.
Okay, so the question is it easy to switch to a different trade within building and construction? So example, plumbing, or would you have to complete the program you applied to before any diversion can be made? So the only thing you can't do is be in two exactly at the same time, but there's nothing stopping you from taking one after another. So say, for instance, if I would have taken carpentry when I did and I decided, okay, I like that, but it's not really for me and I want to try a different hands-on trade, I can certainly register for a program and then go take that one as well and then decide to pursue that. So there's nothing that says once you pick a trade that you can't change your mind. The one thing I do like about skilled trades is a lot of the essential skills that you learn at the beginning are very basic across all trades. So for myself, when I first took carpentry, I really excelled at bricklaying a lot faster than I did carpentry just because I had basic building skills underneath me and I already understood how to use a measuring tape and a level. So when I pursued into a second trade, I learned a lot faster just because I had those skills already with me. So if that doesn't answer your question, can you just let me know if there's any part of that you would like me to elaborate on?
We have a lot of courses within our programs that are common courses. So they'd be credited if they happen to take another program the following year, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, so I'll just add to that as well. So it's not as easy as saying, so if you take a course and then you take the fall semester and you decide you want to switch, there are some basic courses that, yes, would apply across the board. So safety, for example, almost all trades take that. Doesn't matter if you're plumbing, electrical, bricklaying, carpentry, sheet metal, you have to take a safety course. That can be transferable across all trades, but there's courses that are prerequisites to other courses. So perhaps carpentry in the beginning will say you take, I'm just going to make this up, but like site layout, say you take that, but it's a prerequisite to then move on to the concrete course. So you have to take one before you can take the other. Sometimes some of the courses in the fall, so you need those before you can move on to the winter term. So you can't just decide at the end of the fall term, okay, I don't want to do carpentry, I want to jump into plumbing, because during the fall term you would have missed some of the prerequisites. But you can change your mind and go into a different course the next year. It's just you can't decide at the end of the semester you're going to switch to a completely different program during that same academic year. We have a couple students actually in Dwayne sheet metal right now that had previously taken a trade before. I believe one of them was a pipe fitting trade. So when he came, he didn't have to take the blueprint course. He didn't have to repeat math if he didn't want to. He didn't have to repeat essential communication skills and essential employment skills. So there's courses across all trades that we cover that you wouldn't need to repeat, but you can't just switch from one to the other and expect it to happen immediately. I don't know if you could help answer this one, Angie. It says, when are we required to pay for the semester? Because this individual needs time to still figure out financials.
Yep, so absolutely. Your first fees are due the first Friday of the program in September. So again, if you go to your program page, click on tuition and fees, whether you're domestic or international, click on the appropriate link, and it'll tell you exactly what is due and when. If you have any questions on that, if you're international, you can send an email to international@nbcc.ca. If you're a domestic student, you can email collegeworks@nbcc.ca. We do highly recommend that you email the appropriate link, simply because there's the international folks on that team are amazing and they are experts in their field. So you can absolutely reach them. Yeah, so that's when your fees are due. It's basically divided in half. We take the tuition and divide it in half in September, half in January. Tech fees in half, student council fee is in half. So those items are split in half, and it's very detailed on the program page once you click on either domestic or international under the tuition and fees tab.
Right, so there's definitely options, and if you're in a situation where you can't pay your tuition all up front, you can certainly speak to our financial team. But like Angie said, there's opportunity for like installments, so you only have to pay so much for the fall semester, so much for winter semester.
Absolutely.
There's definitely time to make a plan ahead.
Yeah, you definitely want to, you want to have your fees figured out, and you want to have your funding figured out. There are great opportunities to apply for scholarships and bursaries. Once you're a student here in the fall, make sure that you apply for the NBCC Foundation Awards. There's great opportunities there. Those are decided in the fall and will go towards your January tuition. I just want to say welcome to a lot of folks that are joining us. Sometimes with the time, if you're an international student, the Atlantic Standard Time might be a little bit confusing. We're nearing the end of our session, folks. So if you are just joining us, don't worry. We have recorded this entire session, and next week it'll be posted on our website. So I apologize that you're joining us late. If you have any questions you want to put in the chat, you certainly can jot that in there, or you can unmute your microphone, raise your hand, and ask us in person. But there was some great information that was given out in this webinar by both Ashley and Dwayne. So sometime next week, I believe it's going to be on Monday, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's on Monday. This webinar is going to be posted, so you can return and watch it at that time. So we're just about at the end of our session. Does anyone have any questions that before we leave? I see a couple folks are typing, so we'll just hold on a second or two. And okay, the hand that's raised, Raphael, go ahead.
Hi, and there is an issue that I'm a little bit worried about, and I'm going to Canada from Brazil, and there is some gaps of time, like I need to do the PCR exam from COVID, and I'm planning to arrive there 30 days before start the course. But if it's something happened and my exam tests positive and I don't know what can happen. And there is some news about the day exactly to start work, to start study, sorry.
Raphael, I just want to speak to that. The folks on this webinar, we are not part of the international team, so we're certainly not experts in any way. I'm going to post a link in the chat for you that I highly recommend you check out our website and register for one of the international webinars where the members of the international team, they are experts and they know things. They know all about all of the legalities and all of the programs that are available for international students, and all of the requirements and the restrictions and things like that. So I put that link in the chat. There's webinars that are hosted weekly, sometimes 2 and 3 a week. Sign up for one of those webinars and those folks can help you with that. If you still have questions, I recommend you email international@nbcc.ca because we want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need to make any decisions that you need to make about coming here to Canada.
Okay, thank you.
And I think somebody had a question as well about housing, rentals. So we are in no way, we don't provide dormitories or residences. However, I just posted a link that's on our website. So if you scroll down through, it'll show you the area. So it'll say where campus you're at. So whether you're Miramichi, Moncton, St. John, St. Andrews, Woodstock, Fredericton, it shows you links to click on there to help seek out rental opportunities. So the skilled trade techniques there is not a work placement that goes with that program. The goal of that program is for you to explore numerous trades, pick the one that you would like to specialize in, and then in that second year, when you go specialize in your chosen trade, the work practicum will then be attached to that second year of that program. So it's not attached to the first year, it's attached to the second year. And it will be very much trade specific to the one that you decide to specialize in.
Sorry.
I'll just mention that on that link that I sent you folks about the international page, there is a link on that page that specifically speaks to arrival information. So if you are one of the international students attending tonight, please definitely make sure that you check that out. There's so much information there. Also on that page under resources is visas, permits, and immigration. So that will speak to, I saw that one of the question, or the question I guess that Ashley was just speaking to, there's information there for international students, how much you can work during the year, and how that's all affected there. So lots of information. Our international section of our website is amazing. There's so much information there for you. So we highly recommend you check that out. And the question regarding the housing, I suggest you email international@nbcc.ca, check in with them, see what there might be. I know there's different things that are being worked on depending on what campus you're attending. Definitely send them an email and see if anything is there that might be able to help with that. And the academic calendar is actually available, but I think what you're looking for is your schedule of classes. I'll post the link for the academic calendar, which shows you what your school year is going to look like as far as when you begin, when you might be on a break, etc. Your actual schedule for your classes, that usually is the end of August. Am I correct, Ashley?
Typically, it's released sometime in August, yes.
And you'll be able to
So
see that
we
in
typically,
student
before a
self-service.
program starts, we'll send us a schedule to instructors, but then we'll figure out anything that needs to be changed with them, and then it should be released at least a minimum of a week before your program starting. That would be a question possibly for international. I don't know if they do help assist. Did you see that question, Angie? It says, is there a shuttle available for internationals to get from St. John to St. Andrews? I don't know about the initial move. If you're asking about daily, there is not. However, I posted the email there to ask questions specific to international. If it's a question about when you first arrive and what resources to help you, they'd be better equipped to answer that. And I realize I spelled international wrong, so I will post it again. There we go. So I apologize about that. So we're at time. So if we could take one last question, if there is one. And then like Angie said, the meeting is going to be recorded and it will be posted on the website next week.
So if you go to nbcc.ca and then underneath the top header, there's some little squares, the what can I expect that I directed you to as far as what's happening with COVID and how everything's going that way. And then right beside that is College Preview Day. And if you click on that link next week, you'll be able to access this webinar. So I want to thank everyone for attending. We had some great conversations and lots of information. And if I know I've said it, I sound like a broken record, I've said it a million times, but send us an email if you have any questions. Domestic students would email collegeworks@nbcc.ca, and international students would international@nbcc.ca. So the presentation, again, it's going to be available on our website, so no worries whatsoever. You'll be able to see everything that we talked about tonight. You'll be able to see that next week. So have a good night, folks. Thanks for attending, and we'll see you in September.
Thanks for joining, everyone. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.